a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'm gonna make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. All
Any
in favor?
discussion?
Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
The county attorney was to investigate something. Did that occur? What was the result of his findings?
Okay, is that, that is to do with the adult education funds? I think what you're referring to there.
We don't know.
Yeah, what happened is, anytime you give money to the school system, automatically the city gets like 30% of it. And we give $550 to adult education. And so we had to rethink that and take another route. So what we done, instead of giving it directly to the schools, we gave the money to Carter County Tomorrow, and then Carter County Tomorrow in turn gave it to the school. On that adult education, we have, well, Tom Anderson and Carter County Tomorrow is the private sector is putting in $550, and we're putting in $550. So we've come a long way in adult education.
Under new business, I asked school personnel, since I'm the spelling person, other than that, I asked school people.
Got a motion to approve and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. School director's report.
I'll defer to Dr. Ward.
Dr. Ward.
Basically, I guess we can announce that we're working hard on the budget with Finance Director, Dr. Ellis, and the board, and that at this point in time, we have made some recurring permit cuts that amount to approximately $745,062. And we also have made some additional cuts as part of this process that are non-recurring. These are one-year cuts, and that amount is $534,500.
34,000.
Yeah, $500 for approximately right now in cuts of $1.2,795,000.
That's how much you've cut out of your budget already?
Yeah. And Dr. Ellis, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we still are about $142,000 short of
142,
142.
approximately.
In the school staff, the headquarters, how many less people? Any by attrition, naturally,
Yes.
3, 4?
No, we have, by attrition, we have 5. And then by the means of looking at other ways of cutting, we have 4 teachers, and then, no, I'm sorry, we have 3 teachers and then 2 paraprofessional positions. Now,
Will the attrition people be replaced, have to be replaced?
No. No. Dr. Ellis and myself and, well, other supervisors, we sat down at the very front end of this process, sometime late February, early March, and we began looking at our numbers at the school. And where the numbers at schools were above and beyond the BEP requirements, we started looking at where we could pull back, that it wouldn't create class sizes that was going to be over the mandated numbers. And by doing that, from this is mostly K-6, mostly K-6. So we're looking at K-6 this year, 5 last year. I think we were able to do 5 last year, thereabouts, 5 or 6. So in the last 2 years, we've been able to absorb somewhere in the neighborhood of between 9 and 11 teaching positions. Now we're also looking at 3 positions, which would be 1 from 3 of the high schools. And then we're also looking at 2 ISS positions that are aid positions as part of this.
What got us into this situation? Mandates partly, mostly?
Basically, if you look in the paper, you're gonna see everybody, and it's not a reason to be in the situation, but everybody's in the situation for the same reason. Washington County, Sullivan County, Carter County, Hawkins County. Now, we're $1.3 million that we're looking to absorb. Washington County's $4 million, Hawkins County's 2.3, Sullivan County's probably 1.7 or 8, and they're all in the same boat that we're in, based on the fact that over the years, we started seeing the small school lawsuit money. This is back in the early 2000s. Mr. Hicks probably can remember a lot of this. It's been years ago, but it come through in waves of money. No Child Left Behind, BEP 2, now we're
Jobs for education.
Jobs for Education. Now that was 2-year budget. That was the stimulus, that was the Obama stimulus that created jobs for 2 years, and we had to give in writing to the people that were given those jobs. In 2 years, you're not going to have your job. So in 2 years, we eliminated those positions based on the money running out. So what has happened is our revenue has decreased, as well as our BEP revenue, because our student enrollment has been decreasing by 100, on average 100 students a year. And we've got numbers now where it says, or where it shows that over the last 10.5 years, we're 505 or so students less than what we were in the year 2001 or 2.
Have any of these programs outlived their cost effectiveness that were mandated and whatever by the federal government? They get you suckered out there to where 2 or 3 years they help you, and then they pull the funding back.
Most of the programs that's out there right now are where we have employed the RTI assistants and reading the intervention, where they have went into the schools and been one-on-one with the kids, small group, lower grades. Very effective, very effective. Matter of fact, Dr. Lyons and I was working on a letter, and I'm gonna guess we've got about 30 of these. They're part-time, they're 3-hour-a-day positions, and we're gonna get with Dr. Ellis, let her approve the letter, but we're gonna have to send out a letter to those people and let them know that, we probably won't have the money to continue their funding, and that's a shame.
In your opinion, what's wrong? We've gone in 1975, 78, from 3rd in math and science to 27th today, worldwide. What's happening in the United States? Well, because we're putting more money into the program seemingly, and the results just aren't keeping pace with the rest of the world.
We had that comment at our meeting the other night. A gentleman spoke up and asked a very similar question, and it, I think, made us all think a little bit about, throwing money at education. One of the reasons, and I guess the final point as far as where we're at and why we're financially the way we are, as revenues have decreased, costs have increased on everything. From the uniforms that maintenance wears to the gasoline that the buses have to use to transport with. Everything has increased. Textbooks have went up tremendously. But to answer your question, I really think that as a system, not knowing what the other systems do, but as a system, we have got to prepare, and Dr. Ellis, Dr. Whaley, Dr. Lyons, we have had, Mr. McLean, we have had several discussions over using some of this race to the top money, or we're creating mentors. We try to use that in a mentor setting. We've got to train our young people who are teaching, not just math and science, but teaching in general, the foundations, the work ethics, and what we, because the law now says 2 years of deficiency. The state law and the new evaluation process says 2 years of deficiency. You have to have documented, show where you showed a plan of action before you can, remove anybody from a position. It's not our goal to remove people from teaching. It's our goal to bring people from a level up to another level to where they're more effective. So we're help go in. If a teacher is weak in classroom management, help them with classroom management. If a teacher needs some staff development, look somewhere and find them some staff development, get them in a, get them some training. So there's got to be more specific one-on-one instead of a large group trainings.
Can I add to that, Dr. Moore?
Yes, ma'am.
It also goes back, Mr. Von Cannon, to the entire economy in Carter County. And the fact that we do not have the manufacturing jobs available. Manufacturers are saying that we're not preparing students for the workplace. So there's got to be some changes made in our way of doing things in the career technical areas. We need to be able to provide more hands-on experiences for our students, whether it's mathematics or reading, science, anything, any subject area. We need to be able to provide more hands-on experiences.
Practical application.
Right. And that's one thing that teaching to the standards is helping with. Because when you teach to a standard, it advocates that you provide a hands-on experience. So hopefully in the future, our students will be better prepared to go out into the workplace. We looked at some programs yesterday up on Arnie Hill, which I'm sure that'll be discussed later. But I think it goes back to the entire environment, economic situations such as in Carter County. Has a lot to do with it on how well children learn and what their motivation is to learn. We need the jobs here to motivate them.
Ms.
Very
Ellis,
well said.
Yes, sir.
what type of jobs does the government, or the state, the government, tell the school people it's going to be available right here in the next 4 or 5 years? I mean, what type of education do you do for kids?
Well, the state advocates that we prepare students for college and the workplace. We would like for every child to go to college at least 2 years. And I'm repeating from yesterday also. And I did some research on the meeting that we attended yesterday. Manufacturing tells us that there's 600,000 jobs ready right now for people. Not specifically here in Tennessee, but across the United States, and they can't find people who are able to do the job, that have the skills. And those areas that they're advocating are welding, carpentry, and in the Carter County school system, I'm sad to say that we've let that carpentry get lost. And that's why I say there needs to be some changes. But when we talk about manufacturing today, it's more than just being able to weld. Welders, people who go into these different areas in manufacturing have got to be technology savvy also. They've got to be able to set up a computer and do things on computers, because that's just the way it is today.
They have to prove their work.
Yes, and it's high paying. An auto mechanic can go out, make $100,000 a year. Now, would I like for that person to go to college? Yes, I think there's a lot of benefits in college. But an auto mechanic that comes through high school courses or programs of study, that goes on to a 2-year program set Northeast, they're able to go out and make $100,000 a year. Some of our college graduates will never make that a year. So we need to be promoting the manufacturing areas, and I think that if that's done in the school system, that it will help improve the economic situation in Carter County. And if we've got people who are ready to work and are skilled, that should surely help bring in some manufacturing into this county. That's my opinion.
You're absolutely right in what you say, and I think Tom over here will agree. first thing, I've worked hard in economic development for the past few years, and I've studied a lot in economic development. You cannot separate education and economic development, because the first thing that they want to know when the company is looking at you, do you have the workforce? That's first and foremost. And I've heard people talk about creating jobs, creating jobs, creating jobs. You know, I've heard it, so really I'm tired of hearing it. It's not about creating jobs, it's about educating people and getting them prepared to do the job. Because we can't create a job unless we've got the workforce to create one. That's why the CTE programs are so important. That's why Tennessee Technology out here is such an important school. Miss Ellis is right. There's auto mechanics out there making $100,000 a year. There's welders out there that make $70,000, $80,000 a year. I know paint and body men, and I used to be one, that are making $100,000 a year. I don't know many people that's graduated college that make that kind of money, but we've got away from that, and we need to get back to it. And if you want to see the jobs come, you have the workforce. And a question for you, you talked about we have lost over the past decade about 500 students due to enrollment, or whether it's they're going to city schools or whether they're homeschooled. Can you translate that into dollars for the committee?
So you take, I guess, every 25 students equates to a teacher.
Okay.
Now, a teacher, you can figure around $50,000. Now, it's benefits and everything.
Yeah.
That's not a salary, but you know the package.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at what is that? Somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 times about 100,000 per 100. So 500,000, half a million or so dollars we've lost.
So we've lost at least $500,000
Yeah.
in BEP funds over the past decade. And then you guys trimmed $745,000 plus $534,000 from the budget. That's a pretty good cut.
There's more
Is there-
homeschooling going on too now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of
Losing
homeschooling.
the homeschooling.
There are fewer school-age children in Carter County than there were 10 years ago as well.
Yes. Wonder why.
Just changing demographics.
And I do think a lot of people has moved, you know, a lot of this contributes to people moving into an area to where they can find work
Right.
outside of Carter County. And I think homeschool, the charter schools that is set up at, what is it, Union? Yeah. It's just going to get, you know, bigger. But just a quick point on Dr. Ellis's conversation at the meeting yesterday. I think one of the disconnects right now, and it's nobody's fault except for the fact that it's something that we learn, and it's pointed out as we have opportunities to meet. But as our kids prepare in high school, they need to be taking the same classes that they can leave high school and go to the technology center and take. Because what they're going to be able to do is they're going to be able to take that high school skill and put another 2 years with it and expand it, and then come out fully prepared and ready to do the job. Now, they was talking yesterday, and this, I think, one of the things that opened my eyes and ears as much as anything, a up-and-coming profession is going to be working on these battery-operated vehicles. You know, these new vehicles that's being produced now. You're just about going to have to get a computer technician to know how to do it. You know, I think that's got to be there's got to be a better connection looked at and made between the two, city, county, and technology. And then mention something in part of our cuts. It never really come up, but it was discussed at one time. And as we went down the list, and as we got to looking and saying, okay, this area right here is an area we want to look at. But the nursing positions that you provided last year, above and beyond, are in position, and we feel like that are very good programs, matter of fact, excellent programs, and you all saw the value last year of finding the money for those. So, you know, in the area of medical, in Elizabeth and Johnson City, and all over the area, it's going to provide a lot of kids an opportunity that's interested. So those positions are all intact. That you just, if you wanted to, just give you an overall
Sure.
sort of what we have looked at on a permanent basis. We have looked at 2 janitor positions going from full-time to part-time based on the fact we had 2 people retire. We can look at splitting that up into part-time and saving benefit packages. And over the next few years, I think we've got to look at some of those through attrition, some ways that we can save in those. We've reduced mowing hours, 75 hours per week, which made up a difference of about $15,700 for the year. Reduced summer janitors by 1 hour. We went from 6-5-4 schedules to, from 7-6-5 schedules to 6 weeks, 5 weeks, and 4 week schedules, saved $6,000. Right now, we have, and this is a rough draft, tentatively eliminated 8 teaching positions, and as we communicate with the principals, we're hearing in certain positions how hard it's going to hurt them by doing so. But 2 ISS positions, those were 8 positions. We're looking at RTI positions. There has been the possibility of a consolidation of programs which saves a supervisor's salary, and have new estimates where that savings is going to be approximately somewhere in the neighborhood of $45,000. Consolidation of programs where we have virtual high school coordinator consolidated into technology, which is a savings of $45,000. ISS audit fees, board member dues, board travel, $4,000. Other charges, softwares, architect outside of the referendum, we've got $30,000. And then the board member central office capital outlay has been trimmed to $100,000, and that's part of the $745,062 that has been recurring items.
Mr. Ward, I've got a question. Have you ever considered, maybe you're Miss Ellis, on this janitorial service and the mowing, contracted that out? Did you save any money by contracting it to a firm?
We've got the mowing being bid right now.
Yes.
It's going to bid on the 8th, and to see where the numbers are at. We're going to figure a lot of the incidentals that increases our cost for mowing ourselves, which would be the Social Security, the retirement, the parts, the mowers, that we have to buy. All that's going to be figured in to the wages that we're paying, because whoever contracts them out, the figure they give us is not going to have any of that in it. They're going to be doing it themselves. I mean, it's a contract, but now it's going to bid on the 8th of May.
Okay, I know a lot of these big companies like telephone company and all of them is going to a contract service more than an employee. And they say they can save money on it.
Well, it's been looked at, and then on the janitorial thing, as far as buying bulk, one of the things that the board has been looked at, and we have discussed over the last few years in our supervisors meetings, we've talked that we could probably save money with centralized purchasing, but we just right now don't have the adequate facility to look at